Mr. Sergeant of Arms, invite the members into the chamber and close the doors. I hereby declare the House of Representatives of the 113th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee now in session. Will the members please stand? Will the visitors in the gallery please stand and remain standing through the Pledge of Allegiance? Representative Wright will introduce the chaplain of the day. Representative Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The very first thing I need to do today in the recognition of and presentation of the chaplain of the day is to recognize his distinguished spouse. Sister Gail, please make her welcome. The second thing I need to do is so that he will know who is standing before him, Pastor Pat, is for all of those that have served in the military, that have served our nation in uniform. Please give the pastor of the day a good wave. Thank you so much. So what's the reason for me introducing him? I don't remember who came first, but we're both graduates of the U.S. Army Signal Corps Officer Candidate School at Fort Gordon, Georgia. It's a long time ago. Yeah, see, he agrees with me. It was a long time ago. So now I'll put my glasses on and say this. Pastor Pat was an 8-year veteran, Army officer, captain, I'll say that again in a moment, captain, decorated Vietnam veteran. 17 years in business management. More importantly, 28 years as a pastor. It is extreme honor that I present today as the chaplain of the day, the Reverend Dr. Captain Patrick Charles Polis.
Thank you, Dave. I just want to take a moment and just look at everybody. Wow. Y'all look great. I was here 20 years ago, and the speaker at that time said, Chaplain, when you're done, you can sit right over there and spend the day with us, but you're not allowed to vote. And I said, well, sir, if I can't vote, I guess I'll just go home. So it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. As a pastor shepherding a membership of 500 was quite a challenge. So I can't even begin to imagine the challenge you have shepherding 7 million in the state of Tennessee. What an incredible responsibility that you have. So just know that there are those of us that don't live here that remember you in prayer on a daily basis and ask God to give you the wisdom that you need to help this great state of Tennessee be and continue to be great. So I will be praying from a Christian perspective, and if I ask you to join me, please. Almighty and eternal God, we give thanks for the United States of America and the great state of Tennessee. I hold up before you these men and women who have been sent here by the people of Tennessee to govern this state, who have willingly accepted to bear the burden of such a great responsibility. We gather in this designated and hallowed space from all walks of life, seeking your guidance and your wisdom. Therefore, because we are the people, by the people, and for the people, I pray that those who speak today will speak with truth. And may those who listen do so with open minds and hearts. I pray that you'll grant this body the ability to work together towards solutions that serve the greater good of our state. I pray that each member may bear with one another, respecting the value of diversity that makes our community strong, seeking the binding power of peace. I pray those here present, regardless of belief or background or personal circumstance, be filled with compassion, thoughtfulness, integrity, and a deep sense of justice as they serve the people of this state. For each, I pray health and healing in whatever measure are needed. Guard them, O God, that their eyes may remain fixed on their purpose, that they may consider well the path upon which they have been placed as they lead the people of this state. May each walk wisely and worthily of their office as they work together to address the challenges facing our people. May your spirit be with each one as they strive to build a future filled with prosperity and opportunity to all, being guided by the standard that all things are possible to him who believes. And as your word declares, blessed is the nation, and by implication the states of that nation, whose God is the Lord. And with that, may all say amen. And may God bless the United States and bless you as well.
Representative Wright will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I ask that you give proper courtesy to our country's flag and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Roll call.
Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, 95 members present.
Let the journal reflect Representatives Butler, Gant are excused. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Welcoming and honoring.
Welcome and honor anyone seeking recognition. Representative Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are two people I would like to honor and congratulate tonight. As many of you know, I'm a member of the Choctaw Nation, a tribal member, and last night in the Super Bowl, another Choctaw Nation tribal member, deep snapper James Winchester, won the Super Bowl. In fact, he gave the perfect snap on the game-winning kick, so I would like to congratulate James Winchester. And the second person I'd like to congratulate is Murfreesboro native Alex Ballou. Last week, he was the top chef and he won Hell's Kitchen to become the top chef on that. Little known fact, he was the culinary arts instructor at Blackman High School there in Murfreesboro. And at my first event, probably about 10 years ago, he and some students catered. Nobody remembers anything that I had to say, but they all thought the food was incredible. So congratulations to Alex Ballou. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'm joined by two young ladies tonight, Tiana and Kinsey from Farragut Middle School, who are paging for us. If you could make them feel welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Wright at Representative Hicks of Hawkins' desk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a distinct honor for me to introduce my constituent at his desk. Tim Burchett served 2 terms in the House, and 33 was it. Might he be recognized to say,
He's former member, Congressman.
Y'all have heard enough from Washington. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I will tell you this, Mr. Speaker. When I committed to Speaker McCarthy, I explained to him how things were done in Tennessee: caption bills, clarity, things that mattered, fiscal notes, and that's why, in my opinion, that's why he's Speaker of the House of Representatives, United States Congress, because he mirrored what we did in Tennessee.
It will serve him
Mr.
well.
Speaker.
Representative Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While Senator Burchett's in the room, we lost one of his Senate colleagues over the weekend. Tommy Hahn passed away. Those of you who remember Tommy served both the House of Representatives beginning in 1988, moved to the Senate shortly thereafter, and served until 2002. So if you could please keep Tommy Hahn's family in your prayers. He was laid to rest over the weekend, but take a few moments in the memory of Tommy Hahn. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, Mr. Speaker, our Speaker has one of his staff members who unfortunately always is bragging to me that West Tennessee is God's country, and that in fact is not true. Actually, the Lord lives in East Tennessee. And I thought since the day that Kevin became a year older, he would be wise enough to know that East Tennessee is God's country. But anyway, would y'all wish Kevin, the Chief of Staff for the Speaker of the House, a happy birthday today?
Chairman, I think sunlight shines everywhere, sir. Hey, there's also one more birthday in this chamber. Does anybody want to guess who it is? It's our very own Bobby Trotter. Bobby, happy birthday. Representative Hurt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I have two dear friends and constituents on the floor with us today. In the back of the room, if they would stand up, Miss Angie Allman and Miss Debbie Jenkins. Make them feel welcome, please. Thank you.
Representative Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome today. We have a group in the balcony here joining us from the lovely Middle Tennessee Belmont School of Law, some of the finest young, bright-eyed legal minds. Contrary to popular belief, we do need more lawyers in this world. Please welcome the kids from Belmont University School of Law.
Representative Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Barrett stole my thunder and recognized a group from my district. So I'd like to once again thank him for doing that. Thank you. And thank the Belmont University law students for being here today.
Thank you. Representative Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just wanted to take a minute and congratulate the Lady Rams from my hometown of Inglewood. They won the middle school state championship this weekend, only the second state championship in the school's 117-year history. So it was a big weekend in the big city of Inglewood. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Hemmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to recognize my page today, Miss Ella Murdoch. She is 9 years old and loves cooking and swimming and is in 4th grade at USN.
Thank you. Representative Alexander.
I'd like to rise just to welcome my daughter, Whitley Alexander, who's one of those Belmont law students. So I have to embarrass my child, so I had to give her a shout out. Thanks.
Representative Carringer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to take a moment for us to think about Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally. He's a senator and part of my district, and I just wanted to let him know that we are praying for him and wishing him Godspeed and his recovery. So just wanted to have a shout out to him. I believe he's home this week. So we're thinking about you.
Any further welcome and honoring? Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction to resolutions.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all resolutions properly filed be introduced pursuant to Rule number 17 and placed on the consent calendar or referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Joint Resolutions congratulatory and memorializing.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all Senate joint resolutions congratulatory and memorializing and allowing that as be placed on the consent calendar pursuant to Rule number 17.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Resolutions lying over.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That all resolutions lying over be referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That House Bills 1,539 through 1,541 be introduced and passed on first consideration.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate bills on first consideration.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 3, transmitted by the Senate, be held on the desk pending third consideration of the companion House bill.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate bills on second consideration. House bills on second consideration.
Larry Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that House Bills 1,536 to 1,538 be passed on second consideration and be held on the desk or referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Petitions and memorials, reports from standing committees, reports from select committees' calendars. Mr. Speaker, the House has a consent calendar.
Chairman Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of the consent calendar on third and final consideration, in keeping with Rule 50.
Gentlemen, moves passage of the consent calendar, probably second to Mr. Clerk. Any objections have been filed?
Mr. Speaker, item 14, House Bill 219, has been objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 57, Senate Joint Resolution 174, has been objected to by Chairman Clemens.
Anyone seeking recognition on the consent calendar? All right, we're voting on the consent calendar. Oh, Larry Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After consulting with the minority leader, I would ask that all members voting in the affirmative be added as co-prime sponsors on SJR number 210.
Without objection, exclusion duly noted. Any further seeking recognition? Seeing none, we're voting on the consent calendar. All members in favor vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 96, no nays.
Having received the constitutional majority, I declare consent calendar passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the House has a regular calendar.
Call it first bill, Mr. Clerk. The Senate is on that bill, so we're going to pause for a minute or a moment. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, on the regular calendar, House Bill 77 by Leader Lamberth and others, relative to ignition interlock devices. Mr. Speaker, the Senate bill is now on the desk.
Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute conform to Senate Bill 258.
Leader Lamberth moves to substitute conform Senate Bill 258 without objection. So ordered. Leader Lamberth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage for Senate Bill 258 in third and final consideration.
Leader Lamberth moves passage of Senate Bill 258 on third and final consideration. By second, Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
Mr. Speaker, no amendments filed.
Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this bill comes from a conversation that happened in government operations a couple of years ago. The ignition unlock devices that when someone is convicted of a DUI, they're required to have in their vehicle. It's basically a breathalyzer on the vehicle. Those are equipped with a GPS unit on there. And there was a thought several years ago that that would come through via rules on what the requirements are on those GPS units that are, again, attached to these ignition unlock devices. We didn't feel like at the time, and Chairman Reagan and myself and others felt like that should be something that is a change in the law that we all get to decide through the committee process. And that's exactly what this bill is. So it sets the parameters on those ignition unlock devices and specifically restricts the usage of any of that GPS data to just geotag the moment that that person takes a breathalyzer. So takes the actual test. And it's geotagged at that moment and cannot be used for any other reason whatsoever. The only reason that's important is if someone tampers with this device or does not abide by the terms of their probation, it is actually a criminal act. And so you've got to be able to prove venue. So we've restricted them on how they can use that GPS unit, and each individual can choose whatever company they want to. There's 15 or 20 out there at least, if not more. And then they can work out, the other parameters to it. But we wanted to restrict how they could use this GPS information, and that's what this bill does. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Leader Lamberth renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just to clarify, Mr. Leader, with regards to the individual will be contracting directly with that third party, that business relationship between that individual and that third party is when they would have the discussion about whether or not that information and their locational signals can be sold to another third party for some other purpose. Is that correct?
Leader Lamberth.
Absolutely. The individual could insist that they're only going to contract with the third party if that provision is included within it. We don't get in the middle of that. They can pick whatever company they want to. So the individual who's been convicted of DUI, the only requirement that they have from the state of Tennessee is that they have a functioning ignition unlock device on there. They can use whatever company they want to and contract in whatever way that they wish to.
Chairman Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thanks, Spencer.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of Senate Bill 258, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Hardaway, is that an aye? That's an aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 93, 3 nays.
Senate Bill 258, having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
That completes the regular calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. Representative Leatherwood, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to withdraw House Bill 124 from the committee and the House.
You've heard the motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Let's see. Representative Hakeem, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the rules be suspended for immediate consideration of SJR number 212.
Mr. Clerk, please read the caption.
Senate Joint Resolution 212 by Representative Hakeem, a resolution to honor and commend Jerry H. Summers for his meritorious legal service to the city of Chattanooga.
You've heard the caption. Any objections? Without objection, the rules are suspended. Representative Hakeem.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to concur in SJR number 212.
Representative Hakeem moves to concur in Senate Joint Resolution 212, properly seconded. Any objection to the question? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. I declare concurred in. Without objection, motion to reconsider is tabled. Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, that House Bill 484 be heard in the criminal subcommittee this week.
You've heard the motion. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Announcements.
Announcements. Representative Hawk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of us may have on our calendar in the morning at 7 that we were going to have our legislative health screening. Please note the correction on that. They can't get in the building quite that early to be set up by 7 o'clock. So our health screening will be in the morning beginning at 8 o'clock. They're going to run several different tests. And if you want your cholesterol, glucose, and all those tested, it does need to be a fasting lab for them. So again, our legislative health screening on the 8th floor is going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please remember the Wednesday morning devotion at 7:30. Everyone is invited. It's in hearing room 4. Thank you.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank our Speaker Pro Tem for bringing me this beautiful tie with elephants on it. Now, I'm not saying he's a Democrat, but he did wear a Democratic tie. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And members, this is the last time I'll be able to announce, do not clap, please. The last time I'll be able to announce ties for turns is coming up this Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. in room 5C. And I hope that you all will stop by to see the interns and fellowship with the interns and have breakfast with us. If you have any ties or anything that you want to donate, you can bring them by room 419, suite 419. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chair Lady Littleton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to announce that the Children and Family Affairs Subcommittee will be hearing all adoption bills on a special calendar. The date for that special calendar is Tuesday, February 28th. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further announcements? Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Wanted to remind everyone that the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency is inviting you to a legislative breakfast this Thursday on the 8th floor from 7 to 8:30. Now, I have not confirmed, I would encourage, but I haven't confirmed that they might be serving Asian carp for breakfast. I mean, it's good anytime, but we'll see about that. But it'll be a good breakfast either way.
Any further announcements after that delicious meal? Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the following reports have been filed with the clerk's office and are available for review by any member who wishes to do so. The Department of Children's Services 2022 Annual Report, the Department of Human Services Public Chapter 192 Report, the Division of TennCare Federal Funds for Fiscal Year 22 Report, the Department of Children's Services Probation and Juvenile Justice Evidence-Based Treatment Services Report.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next order, please.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, 94 members present.
Next order, Mr. Clerk.
That completes the regular order, Mr. Speaker.
Leader Cochran, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until 9 a.m. on Thursday, February 16th, 2023.
Without objection, the House stands in recess until 9 a.m. on Thursday, February 16th, 2023.